Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Yes, I know you guys. Let me know as soon as it came out. Economic Ninja did another video regarding the Iraqi dinar. So I went ahead and watched it. So I'll go ahead and respond to it, because the direction I think he's heading in is very interesting. So let's get into this. Before we get started, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I certainly do appreciate it. If you're thinking about buying gold and silver, head on over to our friends at Miles Franklin. The link will be down below in the description. When you make your purchase, make sure you use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they'll take care of you. If you have any additional questions, you can reach us over here at this phone number or over here at this particular email. For all orders over $10,000, reach out by email and we'll make sure that you get a great deal. So come on over to Miles Franklin and add to your precious metal inventory. Just released today, the gold Iraqi dinar. So let's go ahead and check it out. But before we get started, I don't know if this is where he lives or if he just happens to be by this, but it looks like a great place to fish.
The gold Iraqi dinar is happening right in front of us. A gold-backed currency that has been destroyed. Now, when I say gold-backed, it's not the same type of backing as when you would think of the US dollar being backed by gold. It's happening a different way. And it's interesting to me, based off of a video I did a couple weeks ago about the dinar and my story about it, and how I came into that investment. And quite frankly, this is the smallest investment I've ever made. I read through the comments, and one comment was someone just full of rage, saying, "Stop telling the people it's being revalued. It's not being revalued." I said, I told the person, I said, I just read multiple news stories from not only Iraq, but other parts of the world, where the Iraqi government has revalued the value of the Iraqi dinar versus the US dollar.
Yeah, I ran into this problem too. People don't know the difference between reinstating and revaluing. The Iraqi dinar has been revalued several times. Just over the last couple years, we've seen Iraq devalue from getting 1,190 dinars for every dollar down to 1,450 dinars for every dollar. And about a year later, they revalued from 1,450 dinars on up to 1,320 dinars per dollar. So the issue is they don't know what a revalue is for the most part.
Then I saw some other people say, it's not revalued. Look at what it is on the exchange. How much is, look at it. It's not doing what the government says. And I said, well, the US government values gold at $35 an ounce. It's true.
Yeah, I've seen the books. It's actually written that they valued the gold that we have at $42 an ounce. Now, I've heard this rumor before, but when I saw that, I was like, what? They have severely undervalued the gold. If we got down to why they done this, it might explain a whole lot of things, to be honest with you.
The US government has its gold reserves on its balance sheet at $35 an ounce. It has never changed it ever since Nixon took us off the gold standard temporarily.
So it's not the Federal Reserve that has the gold sitting on their books at 42 an ounce. It is the Treasury. The statutory price of gold is set by law. It does not fluctuate with the market price of gold and has been consistent at $42 or 42.2222 per fine troy ounce since 1973. The book value of gold held by the Treasury is determined using the statutory price. Okay, so now this should be interesting. They're saying that 5%, which is 600 million, is being held by the Federal Reserve on behalf of the Treasury. But down here it says the remaining 95% of U.S. Treasury gold, which is equal to 10.4 billion in the book value. All right, so now let's add on here plus 10.4 billion. Okay. So altogether, they're saying they have $11 billion worth of gold divided by the price of 42. So what they're trying to tell us is they have 260,526,452 ounces of gold. Multiply this times today's rate. If these numbers are accurate, the United States has $620 trillion worth of gold. If you add the gold together, it's $11 billion worth. Divided by what they say they've calculated, which is at the book rate, which is 42.222, then turn around and divide it by that, then multiply times the current rate. This would be the value of the gold the United States is claiming to be holding. And how much is our national deficit? Well, why can't we just sell the gold and pay a lot of that off? I'll leave the link for you guys to go back and check it out. But do the math yourself. If they're saying we have $11 billion worth of gold, according to this particular fixed rate of 42.222, well, then all you do is just take the dollar amount, then divide it by this 42.222. That gives you the number of ounces. If you multiply it times today's rate, this is what you get right there. $620,730,326,700 worth of gold. Sorry, I wanted to go check that out.
How do you like what politicians say and what they actually mean or do? And the reason why the U.S. dollar is still valued at the gold is still valued at $35 in the government books, because the government doesn't want you to know that the purchasing power of the dollar is going down drastically. Now, the Iraqi dinar, to say that it went down drastically is an understatement. The Iraqi dinar has always been worth, in the last, before we invaded Iraq, it's always been worth 2 to 3 times more valuable than the dollar. And it's also interesting to me that my greatest gains in life have come from very obscure, unknown investments.
Well, one thing real quick. It only was worth $3 per dinar because of Saddam Hussein. Not for any other reason, not because the Iraqi dinar was actually worth that. Saddam Hussein himself set that value. He changed the exchange rate on his own. So was it really worth $3 per dinar? No. He printed a ton of Iraqi dinars, totally devalued it big time. So after he was removed, Iraq had to deal with hyperinflation. So yes, the Iraqi dinar at one time was, one dinar was worth $3.22 American dollars. But again, that exchange rate didn't become that rate because they were a valuable currency. I think before Saddam did that, they were sitting around $1.52, which is still good, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't worth no $3.
It's usually the people that are running around screaming, when you talk to someone like, hey, what do you think about gold and silver? Like, that's a scam. I've heard that. How many people have heard that? Type 1 have you heard that? Yeah, gold and silver is a scam. How do you base that information? Where do you get that information from? That's a scam. There's no return on it.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I never heard it was a scam. I heard it's called dead money. You hold on to gold and silver, doesn't give you the types of returns that you can get from other investments. But to say it's a scam that's crap. But it does go up in value. It just moves at the pace of a turtle unless something drastic happens.
Okay, it's going up in value. But all right. How about Bitcoin? Oh, it's a scam. How many people have heard that? Type 2. Look, well, where do you get that basis of knowledge? But it's a scam. I heard it from someone. And then you think about the Iraqi dinar. And type 3, if you've heard the Iraqi dinar is a scam. They're just trying to steal your money. Yet, it's one of only 2 currencies in America that I cannot go into a bank and buy. A bank that deals in Forex, where you go order money and it comes to you because you're going to go on a trip. The banks will not allow you to buy Iraqi dinar or Vietnamese dong. And it's funny to me because when I saw those videos on public broadcasting television back in the early 2000s about the revaluation, the plan to bring back the value of the dinar, identical to what happened to the Kuwaiti dinar. You see, politicians got extremely, extremely wealthy, along with some insiders, on the Kuwaiti dinar. They collapsed that thing down to 5 cents, and it was worth 2 or 3 times what the dollar was at the time. And then Bill Clinton gave this amazing speech. We're gonna revalue. We're gonna bring back the currency. Well, that's real nice, Bill. You made probably $100 million off that deal. I don't know the exact amount, but they all owned it. And they were going to do it all over again in Iraq.
Now, I've heard this several times. people claiming up and down that this politician, that politician, or this individual owns millions of dollars worth of Iraqi dinar. But then when you ask them, where is your proof? Well, nobody has proof. They always say, well, they're not going to disclose that to the public. My question is, then how do you know if that's true? Where did you get your information from? You can't just come out and say, well, so-and-so has it. I've been hearing that for years when it comes to the Iraqi dinar. Well, the United States holds on to because they're invested in it. First it was Obama has a dinar, then it was Trump has dinar, then it's Biden has dinar. It's like, oh God, every time a new person gets in office, well, that person has dinar. But where is your proof? No disclosures that show you that these people actually own the Iraqi dinar. Now, I wouldn't put it past politicians to know ahead of time that a currency is going to revalue and then purchase it. I'm sure there's all kinds of insider trader information going on. Obviously, they wanted to pass a bill called the Nancy Pelosi bill, which prevented politicians from being able to invest in the stock market because they had insider information. But I wish these people would tell me, where did you get your info from about any politician at all when it comes to the Iraqi dinar? I'm just curious is all it is.
But man, that darn YouTube got out there, and all of a sudden everybody, Tony, are you on right now? Tony P on? Tony Peralta, hi. It's interesting because all of those, it's an old friend. If it's the same Tony Peralta.
I wonder if there's any relation to Stacy Peralta, the famous skateboarder.
Oh, it's interesting because they were going to get away with it unless they succeeded. Until YouTube and social media came out, and then people started sharing the truth and the stories, and they pushed it back. And it was the U.S. government that was pushing back the revaluation. The whole time, the officials in Iraq wanted this to happen because it was about rebuilding, right? Well, and I'm going to get to this news story about the gold because I think it's very important people understand this gold that Iraq's buying. They've been buying this. I've been following this since about 2015. The Iraqi central bank's been picking up more and more gold, as much as it can. And right now it sits at like about, I think it's 8% of their reserves are in gold. And on the world stage, it's actually a pretty good clip. Sure, you've got your European central banks in America, Russia and China to have more. But if you think about it, they're bigger trading partners, bigger economies, but also they're the ones that have raped and pillaged the world. You see, most people don't realize, I think it was South Africa or one of the African nations just demanded their gold back from the U.S. Identical to what happened to Germany in 2015, 2016.
Yeah, there are several countries wanted to repatriate their gold back to their country. And the thing is, the United States is being very, very hesitant for some reason in returning the gold that belongs to these countries. See, that's the thing. Somebody like Russia says, okay, go ahead, United States, you can hold our gold. But then as soon as you do something, it just gives them an excuse to take it from you. And that goes with any other countries. When they started going into other countries and colonizing, these are people who wanted to get away from the petrodollar. They noticed that they started taking stuff from these countries that didn't belong to them. So people are like, yeah, I don't want to piss off the United States who's holding all my reserve currency and all my gold. Go ahead and send it back to us. And so there are a couple of countries in which the United States refused at the moment to return their reserves or their gold. Really sad. But yeah, what Economic Ninja's talking about, they raped and pillaged, all right, but they weren't the only ones. So in 2023, the World Gold Council reveals Iraq as the 7th largest buyer. So of course you got all the people up there like People's Bank of China, Poland, Singapore, Libya, Czech Republic, India, and Iraq is 7th.
When Germany demanded their gold back from the U.S. And most people that would tell you that Bitcoin's a scam, gold's a scam, the Iraqi dinar's a scam, they don't even know or could even comprehend that most of the world's gold has been sitting in the U.S. for quite some time because of World War II. And the U.S. concocted an incredible scheme to take their gold, make the dollar the reserve currency, and then export their inflation around the world. So right now, we are at a moment that the dollar hegemony is collapsing. And countries like Iraq, as small as they are, yet massively rich in resources, right, like oil, are out there buying gold. Why? Well, let me first go over the story, and if you guys can do me a favor and juice the algo, and everybody hashtag gold, Bitcoin, or Iraqi dinar, whatever you guys own. As a matter of fact, if you own all three, hashtag them down below and let's fire this thing up. So this story is out of IraqNews.com, and it says data released by the International Monetary Fund, or the IMF, showed that Iraq had increased its possession of gold by another 3,079 tons. Thank you everyone for typing in and hitting the thumbs up. In February, this just happened in February, right? Bringing its total gold reserves to 145,661 tons. This growth reflects Iraq's ongoing efforts to diversify its foreign reserves and improve long-term financial and monetary stability. Gold is a traditional safe haven for investors, particularly during times of economic and geopolitical instability. Iraq's decision comes at a time when gold is becoming more expensive globally. In April, the price of an ounce of gold exceeded $2,400. This is the highest level recorded in history.
Here's the thing that blows my mind. Iraq has a ton of gold in their country. They need one of these big miners to go out there and help them take it out of the Tigris River. I remember it wasn't that long ago reading this report about a survey that was done on Iraq's gold that's there in the water. And the people that were scanning the water said, not only do you have a ton of gold, but it's very shallow. So that makes it very inexpensive to mine. So they can get a ton more gold if they could just get a real mining company to go out there and help them take that out of the river. And mind you, it's a river, so every year there's going to be new deposits in Iraq's Tigris River.
Gold is a scam, right? In its latest report issued in April, the World Gold Council revealed that Iraq maintained its position as the 30th, now think of this, please, the 30th largest gold holding country out of 100 countries, as its gold possessions remained 142.6 tons, representing 8.4% of the rest of its other reserves. Okay, so its gold reserves are rising. It's the 30th largest out of 100 countries. And can you guys do me a favor? Type how many countries are in the world right now.
195.
Put it in the comment section, because there's more than 100. And when you see that number and you consider, you're like, okay, the 100 countries that they're talking about are the ones they follow because they actually have gold, right? Now think about this. We're sitting here, we have over 200 countries in the world, right? We've got 382, we got all kinds of numbers out there. But if you think about it, that's a massive amount considering the size of the economy, the size of the country. We went into Iraq for one reason and one reason only. It was because Saddam Hussein had said, I've had enough and I want to diversify the dollar and I will accept euros now for oil. Now you have to remember that at that time, the euro was a brand new currency. Matter of fact, it's like pretty much the newest currency in the world. When that happened, we went and we bombed them back a century. Just like we did with other countries that were doing the same thing. If you remember Libya. Libya wanted oil for gold. Now, we have lost that edge. Our government is no longer doing that. As a matter of fact, our government, I believe, is completely sold out to globalists. Globalists that want to turn this into a one world currency, or a one world government, just like at the end of the Bible. Okay?
I agree 100%. Been preaching about it for years.
And so what you're seeing is Western powers trying to turn us into a one world economy and currency. And then you see a few rogue nations are going, screw you, we're not going to do this. So we know that we are in very interesting times. And to make big money, you have to make very interesting decisions. Decisions that are not mainstream. Everyone that became wealthy in this world did it two ways. They did it in something that was new, a technology somehow is new, whether it be the railroad, the printing press, or anything like that, internet, and they did it before anyone else. They moved in before the masses. The masses only get the top 1/3 of the gains, and then they also are the bag holders as it collapses. This happens all throughout history, every 7 to 10 years, every 50 to 100. You got your mini corrections, your recessions, then you've got your depressions. So going back, if you think about it, the reason why they are buying this gold, the Iraqi government is buying more gold, their central bank, is because they want to compete on the world stage, the new world stage, which is the BRICS nations. And the BRICS they are already planning on a gold-backed currency and all that stuff. And it won't be for the masses. It will be more for trading. But countries like Iraq know, like, we need to bolster our gold reserves because we're in the middle of revaluing our currency versus the US dollar. And we want to add more value for that currency versus these other BRICS nations by our gold investments. You know, if you could imagine right now, when you go to buy a car or get a credit card or get a home loan, your rate is completely, and the amount that you will be forced to put down, either 0 or 20% or even 25% on homes, it is 100% based on your credit. Sure, everybody needs to have a job and be able to proof of payment. We get that. That's standard. But the one variable is your credit. Well, right now, around the world, central banks and governments understand that their credit is based off of their reserves, how much they have in reserves. And the highest reserve, if you look at, was it Basel III requirements that both put gold up as a tier 1 asset for banks? Gold is now a tier 1 asset. It is the gold standard. It is back to the gold standard. See, the US government came out and attacked the gold standard a long time ago, not only destroying it back in the 30s, but then also completely walking away from the gold window and shutting it for redemptions in the 70s. Not only that, they turned around and they said to the banks, hey, we don't value gold. We value gold so little that it's more important for you to hold US dollars and US treasuries in reserves, and we will give you a higher credit score. These are the US banks. Gold is tier 2. They wanted to put in our minds, your mind, your family's minds, your friends' minds, the thought that gold is ancient. And they've got mouthpieces out there like Dave Ramsey telling you the same thing. I wonder if Dave Ramsey owns any gold. I guess that's another topic for another video. So my point being is that if you see the writing on the wall with this dinar, you'll understand where it's going, because these central banks aren't buying gold for just any, for no particular reason. They have a serious reason, and they are actually revaluing their currency little by little, regardless of what the markets tell you that dinar is worth. Now, I'm not telling you to go out and buy it. And here's another thing. People are asking where to buy it. I bought mine on eBay. I know that sounds crazy. Type 5 if you used eBay to buy your dinar. And I don't suggest doing it, honestly, because I bought it so long ago, and there's so many scams out there. But, like I told you when I went into the bank, no banks allow you to purchase dinar, even though it's the only currency since, 2001 or 2002 that has gone up that much versus the US dollar. There's no other currency I know of that's done that. Let me know down below. I could be totally wrong. But you've got to research this stuff. But there are authorized sellers of currency that actually sell dinar, and they are actually licensed by the U.S. government and the Treasury, okay? So you have to go make sure that they're a licensed dealer of currency. And on eBay, ironically, they're selling it on eBay. But you have to make sure it's a power seller, that they are licensed, they are verified, all that kind of stuff. You have to do your own due diligence in this, right? People get taken all the time. But like I said, this is my smallest investment I've ever made. And I did it because of that crazy dream I had and all that crazy stuff that happened. I just bought it and I set it aside and I said, all right, God, if this is meant to be, it'll happen. And I'm not going to stress about it. The other things like gold and Bitcoin and silver and real estate, I'm just like grabbing as much as I can. Not real estate right now. But you get my drift. I hope you guys have a great day. I hope you got something out of this. Thank you so much for all your support.
I guess my question to Economic Ninja is this. At the beginning of the video, he states that Iraq is backing their currency by gold. He said they're doing it a whole different way. Either I missed it or I did not hear how it is they're using gold to support their currency. Anyways, as usual, Economic Ninja kicks butt. And if you take a look at how much gold we are supposed to have, it turns out we have quite a bit of gold sitting there. Enough to wipe out the debt that we have. Why are we paying so much in taxes? Because the truth of the matter is, it's not the government's gold. It's the people's gold. Anyways, you guys let me know what you think. I look forward to hearing from you. I'll leave Economic Ninja's YouTube channel so you guys can go check them out down below in the description. Anyways, I look forward to your comments and I'll get back at you later. I'm out.